Welcome back, believers. Honored to bring you guys another video. And today's video will be along the lines of the topic the disease of pride. And I'll just jump right into the text. I'll be just referencing one verse. This verse is out of Proverbs 16, verse 18. Pride goes before destruction, and a haughty spirit before a fall. So this has been weighing on me for quite some time. Just speaking personally and candidly, for almost most of my life, I would say, to a degree. And like how Paul references a thorn in the word, I would say pride has been a thorn for me in my life that God has continued to help deliver me daily from, but it requires really going against my flesh to allow God to do that. But I've been convicted on the area of how I've been convicted of the disease of pride because of the different relationships in my life, my own testimony, like I mentioned, and just the byproduct of pride and how it manifests itself in current time and just in our world today. I think it's a sneaky Achilles heel, right? Where you think pride is really having this confidence in what you're doing, or having this, dignity of some sort. But if you peel back those titles or those words, it really is kind of this self-glorification, self-boasting, self-reliance attribute or term that just ends up destroying everything in our lives that we hold on to dearly. But I wanted to make this video to help spread awareness and spread encouragement on recognizing this and then overcoming this, because if we don't, like I said, it will destroy your life. And just like how that word says, pride goes before the fall, right? And I've just been torn with this, because you're like, God, how can I just feel adequate about what I'm doing? God, how can I? And he shows you how to remove the disease of pride gradually, first starting in your heart, right? And in your soul, where he puts you in positions to die to yourself daily and serve others. But a lot of times we will miss that call. We will miss that direction, because we're so caught up in how we want to go about things or how we want to feel, and we justify that. And so, like for me, God would constantly put me in situations where he didn't bring to pass like the desires that I wanted with like my sports career, or with certain relationships and things of that nature, or certain jobs that I've had over the years. But I can see a through line of how he used all those things for me to yield to his plan and grow in compassion, grow in humility, and grow in service of others, and seeing how I could help others versus condemning them or unjustly criticizing them, or just being arrogant about, you know, the gifts that God has given me, or you know, all the things that, you know, may come naturally to us that we want to exalt over others as a defense mechanism. And even just being around my family, I can even see how, you know, pride, you know, has continued from generation to generation. And that's why it's so important. It's been refreshing just being able to move closer to family in Florida, and just learn about my family in a new lens, since I've been away for quite some time. But I would still visit from here and there. But just seeing how the pride in conversation, the pride in the different conversations, or the pride in sorry about that, the pride in just ways of thinking that only those who have gone through it can hear, and have the Holy Spirit can really, you know, relate to it. And I'm just like, man, we gotta like put the safeguards up and realize, like, God wants us to submit ourselves and to be lowly, in the sense of, you know, decreasing ourselves and increasing God. And I made a video a few weeks ago about that. But that's the only way you can deal with pride, and understanding that the talents, gifts, and abilities that God has given to you, me, and all of us don't just stem from our doing. Yes, we do put in some work, but God ultimately allows us to experience, you know, the benefit, the fruit, and the cultivating, you know, of what we're spending our time in, and what the things that we excel in. So we can't take ownership. And when I started to like remove the ownership complex of thinking like, you know, I did X, Y, and Z, or to validate or justify, or just even if some things came naturally, or this comes naturally, so therefore, like, you know, and we could get comfortable and numb in what comes natural, because it feels familiar, feels right, not knowing that everything that comes natural is not meant for us to glorify. So we constantly need God to intervene through these, a lot of times, unfortunate experiences, where it comes at a cost of great pain, great service, and sacrifice, and most importantly, great obedience, where we're realizing, like, God, I don't have all the answers. God, please continue to soften my heart, continue to show me the plan, and continue to allow me to exalt others over myself, because that will remedy, you know, the pride epidemic, and the pride and the disease of pride that can just spoil everything in your life. And just seeing people around me, you know, lives just continuing to plummet due to pride is saddening, because it's just I just see this holding on to, and this wrestling with, just like wanting to feel indignified with indignant, or I don't know if I'm using that word correctly, but just wanting to feel like dignified about just either like talking about others, or putting people down, as far as belittling them, just so that you know, they can feel better about themselves. And we all have done this, but I have, in the past just year, God has just been revealing to me myself in a deeper way that is just extremely uncomfortable. But the closer you walk with God, you will see the pattern of God is not focused on showing you others. He's focused on showing you to you so that he can truly begin and finish, the great work that he's already has set out in the beginning of time. But we just have to realize it and walk in it and receive it. And but yeah, the disease of pride, man, it'll have areas of your life, like your health. It'll have your health in shambles. It'll have your relationships in shambles, your family dynamic, your household, your finances, all those things in shambles. And I don't want that to happen for you guys. So that's why I'm using myself, as just a example for that, because it has taken me most of my life to get to the point. And God would even use like random people, man, to say like, pride, or few people, I would say, to show me that, pride is gonna, be your downfall. So, consider yourself warned, not in those words, but that's how I received it. And I had to allow God to continue to humble me in places where I wanted to just exalt myself. But a lot of it, pride, comes out of insecurity of ourselves, insecurity of just maybe our childhood, and pride coming just from trauma, of not being healed, of different experiences that we've had in our lives, that then take shape or take root in the form of pride. And it's like a sin that I don't hear talked about much, but it's easily one of the most dangerous ones, because it just kind of, it's like almost like a behind the scenes agent that, it's involved in almost every sin, or, so just realizing that, because a lot of times we want to focus on homosexuality, we want to focus on adultery, we want to focus on cheating or all those type of sins, but not knowing that pride is almost latched onto all of those to some part. And it could just literally ruin you. It can ruin just your relationships, and it will take time to like recover and bounce back from that. But if you can realize and just have the awareness and saying that I do have pride in this area, God, continue to heal me and deliver me from this, because I want to be used as a vessel. I don't want my blessings and life to be on hold because of my own disobedience and my own because of my own self-reliance, right? And then you realize it's a liberating thing to realize, like, it's not about what I'm wearing. It's not about my job title. It's not about who I know in the world sense. Because a lot of times our pride will come from how good we are at something, and all those things that I mentioned before. But you can realize we are nothing without God. We are nothing without surrendering ourselves and humbling ourselves in the sight of God, in a way that is like knowing that God is, as for us who call ourselves believers in God, we realize that He is the source of all things, and of all good things for that matter. So if we relinquish that pride in our mindset, and it also comes with, that can also be created by, isolating ourselves longer than we need, being around certain people that we shouldn't be around, and then generational curses. So I just want to encourage you guys to evaluate and take inventory of where has pride creeped in from, and asking God to surgically remove it. And that'll take time, and that'll take, bumping your head, and going through some painful situations. But man, it's so, freeing and liberating knowing that, like, none of this matters in the world, in the sense of putting our treasure into it, and knowing that we're just vessels and stewards of God, sent here to accomplish His plan. This life is not about us. And when you realize this life is not about us, but is about Him who sent us, that allows you to have a different heart posture, a different mindset, a different wherewithal, a different fortitude that will help others experience breakthroughs, help you experience breakthroughs, and will truly allow you to be an example for the kingdom, given giving your surrendering and your awareness to God. So I hope this video was encouraging to you all. I love you all. You guys are in my prayers. And until next time, God bless.